begin with a reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, or what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your lifespan? And why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown in the oven, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? The word of the Lord. I think one of the core values of our American society is hard work. Hard work. The American dream is that you can better yourself. The harder you work, the better a life you can have. The goal is for your life to be even better than the life your parents led, and for your children to have even better than you had. And it's all done by hard work. Hard work takes time, putting in long hours. It might mean staying late at the office or at the church, or for students, late nights in the library. It means expanding the expectations even of our own jobs that they put on us. It means working just a little later to fix that last line item on a budget. It means one more round of edits on that sermon so that'll be just right. It means reading just one more article for that research paper so it'll be the best it possibly can be. It's only by hard work that we get further. That's what we're made for. Work hard, be better, be the best, have the best. But that's what makes today's gospel a little confusing. Because Jesus is saying, well, the birds don't sow or reap, but they're fed. The lilies don't toil or spin, but they are clothed even better than Solomon himself. So just slow down and stop worrying so much. How are we supposed to do that? How can we slow down and stop worrying? I mean, work automatically brings worry, doesn't it? Especially when we invest our worth in the work that we're doing. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, we should be able to be proud of the work that we're doing. We spent so much time on it. But see, the kicker is that even when we put a lot of time into our work, sometimes it seems like it doesn't pay off. It might look like spending hours upon hours or weeks upon weeks planning the perfect prayer service for your people just to have no one show up. Or maybe it's working so hard to publish an article just to realize that probably no one's even going to read it. Maybe it's spending all that time editing a sermon and then realizing when you deliver it, you make a mistake in the middle and the whole thing unravels. Or maybe it's not even you making the mistake. Maybe you've worked so hard, you've edited it perfectly, and you're delivering it to a sea of blank faces or disgruntled looks. So much for all that hard work, right? But instead of backing off of the hard work, we delve deeper. Maybe it's just adding a few more hours. Maybe it's taking on a few more projects. You see, productivity becomes the name of the game. How many people can I serve? How many articles can I publish? How much can I do? Because if I produce more, if I do more, I'm bound to feel better. The more I produce, somebody's got to like what I do. Someone will respect me. Someone will give me the affirmation I'm looking for. I'll feel better about myself, right? But see, I think there's a catch. And I'll take the words of one of my favorite theologians, Henry Nouwen. He says, productivity can never give us the deep sense of belonging that we crave. Productivity can never give us the deep sense of belonging that we crave. Yes, because what we really crave isn't just accolades or affirmation or feeling valued. It's feeling connected. It's feeling like we're welcomed to be a part of something greater than ourselves. It is a sense of belonging. That's really what we're searching for. So this is exactly why toiling away for our own benefit and only for our own work will never give us the sense of satisfaction or fulfillment that we're after. So what I think Jesus is really saying in the gospel is, don't worry about doing the most or making the most or being the most. Instead, focus on being enough. Focus on being who you were created to be, doing what you were created to do, and that will be enough. In fact, that will be the best. You see, the birds weren't made to sow and reap, and the lilies weren't made to do anything but grow. It is because they do what they were created to do that they are the fullness of their own glory in their creation. So as humans, our true purpose, our telos, is to be with and for one another. Yes, we are created in the image and likeness of God, a triune God, a three-in-one God of constant relationship. So then, too, are we called to live in relationship. This is how we will bear fruit, not from endless toil, but from endless love. I think Henry Nouwen understood this bit about productivity not giving us what we crave because of the time he spent in a L'Arche community. For those who aren't familiar with L'Arche communities, they were started in the mid-1960s by a man named Jean Vanier in France. They're an opportunity for people with and without intellectual and cognitive disabilities to live together in intentional community. In these L'Arche communities, there's a mutual sharing, a building up, and a constant circle of love. And you know why? Because there isn't a focus on productivity and accomplishment. For some of the members with cognitive disabilities, a major accomplishment could be tying your shoes or setting the table. And they're living together with someone like Henry Nouwen, who is an accomplished theologian, professor, and author. As Henry Nouwen states, some of us might be productive and others not, but we're all called to bear fruit. And that fruitfulness comes from living in relationship and living authentically and sharing love with one another. So the challenge remains, we can't all live in these communities because the people we're encountering they're not out for the same things that we are. So how do we live this out if not everyone is in it for the same goal? Well, the other side of stopping worrying is then trusting in God, leaning into that relationship, and allowing that to become the foundation of how we live. I think a prime example of this type of lifestyle is now Saint Brother Andre Bassett, because I would be remiss if I didn't speak about someone from the Congregation of Holy Cross. So, now Saint Brother Andre Bassett was born in the late 1800s, and from his childhood was described as someone weak and frail in body. Mentally, he was competent, but he was too weak to really attend school or to be around other people. But he was a man of great faith. So some others saw that he might have a calling to the religious life, so they pushed him toward the Congregation of Holy Cross. And the Congregation of Holy Cross said, "No thanks, we'll take a pass." How is he going to be productive for us? He wasn't strong enough to do the manual labor of the other brothers. He hadn't had enough education to be an effective teacher or preacher, so what was he going to do for them? But at the intercession of an archbishop, Brother Andre was eventually accepted to the congregation, and he was made to be a porter. That is, his job in its entirety was to hold the door for people. As Brother Andre quipped, when I joined this community, the superiors showed me the door, and I stayed there for 40 years. You see, because he never worried about productivity. He wasn't worried about how many times he held the door, or how many people he spoke to, or how much he could accomplish in a day. No, he was concerned about relationship. and about expressing the love of God to every person that he encountered. And see, by this he bore fruitfulness, not by the work he was doing, but by the way he was living. Not all of us might be as saintly as Brother Andre, but we still have the ability to work toward holiness. Maybe it's just taking the first step. Maybe it's setting some boundaries on the amount of hours that we focus on work, tasks, accomplishing things. And maybe it's leaving just a little more time for being with others, for being for others, and above all, for being for and trusting in God.